right. All right. Welcome back to the Sideline Show. It's been not too long, but we are back, and we're here to break down a handful of things. We're going to talk about the Kearney Fantasy League standings and the playoff run, the bubble battle for last place to see who could avoid. I don't remember what the last place pays out. Maybe 15,
I've
20
got
bucks.
it. Oh, it's big money.
We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to make sure that we hit on who is like riding high going into the playoffs, who is struggling and hoping that they're going to maybe squeak in, and then probably just like break down a couple really just break some hearts in the process to make sure people can understand like where they messed up and where they could have been a little bit stronger to try to make it. But Brad, great to be back with you here on the sideline.
Mitch Ale, great to see you. Last time we did our last episode, it was November 10th, 2010. That was about the last time that we recorded. And a lot's changed technologically since then. But one thing I know is right off the bat is that there's more delay in our audio transmission. It seems like that should have gotten better since our last episode, but it's not. So,
Well,
you know.
I'm gonna just maybe there's a chance that not having Ian Davidson here is a part of that.
That is true.
Maybe let's also. It's really important for us to talk about a couple of things. Yes, we are back. It's like we've never left, right? I think that whenever we think about the world of podcasts, I don't think that I'm alone in thinking that we were kind of like the OG podcast. I mean, people were like blogging at the time.
I mean, it's
Vlogging,
2008. It's 2008.
vlogging,
Yeah.
all of the logs. We were like, people don't want to read what you have to say. They want to listen to what you have to say. People were lazy, and so we went out and we went ahead and did that. And now,
Yep.
obviously, everyone's doing it. And then we left on a high note, showmanship. And but the point is, we are back, and just like you said, so many things have changed, but so many things have stayed the same. So
That's right. I think we
I don't
never
know.
left.
It's like we've never left. It's like we never left. All right, so
Yep.
let's dive in. So let's start off. Let's start off with a little bit of history of this fantasy league. This which there is not much history of this fantasy league. This is the inaugural league. It was a long time coming for the Kearney league to have been born, and I'm glad it finally did. There are 12 people in this league. All of the Kearney boys. Two of the Kearney wives, and how many of the Kearney kids we got? Kaufman, Ruby,
4,
Justice, 4, and Barrett.
5, and Grace. 5.
And Grace. Sorry, Grace.
Although she is an adult, she's a Kearney adult.
That's right. Kearney adult, not so much a Kearney
By the
kid.
way, let's just go there. Did Grace pay an adult entry fee or a kid entry fee this year? I think that was up in the air.
Grace did pay an adult entry fee. I was very proud of her. I was actually waiting to see if she can. Not only did she pay an adult entry fee, but she didn't even ask. Like she just paid it without asking,
All right, that's my gal. I knew.
Yeah. No, that was a proud moment.
I knew Grace would do the right thing right there. That was excellent.
Yeah, no, she just shipped it off. Hillary, on the other hand, did not. She just like, you're paying for my entry fee, right? That's like,
she just assumed you'd take it. Well, and for that matter, Danielle has not even accepted my invite to co-manage my team yet. So, I would love. I mean, nothing would make me happier than to find out that Danielle has stepped in. Sorry, as I'm minimizing tabs, trying to get back to the podcast. I don't even know if you could even see that, but nothing would make me happier than to find out that she, traded Bijan Robinson. While I wasn't paying attention, because I would just love the camaraderie and the co-management. So, and it's okay.
The league will continue to evolve and grow, and the intensity of the league will grow. And there's no doubt that she's going to want to get it at one point in time. I mean, this is bound to be a 16 team league at some point in time. But But anyway, the
Yeah.
league started this year. We did a couple interesting things with it. We did a live draft that we did over Labor Day weekend, which was a great way to spend the weekend via text, I guess. Live slow draft via text. And it was just a good way to like kick off like the kind of trash talking and really just kind of seeing who's into this thing, who kind of has a mind for the fantasy, who has a mind for how to build a team, and who is out there picking players multiple times. Because like you don't really know who's in it for, who's in it to win it, who's in it to just like kind of be there for the party. Which there's nothing wrong with being on either one of those sides, but that was a good way to really kind of like
Absolutely.
get a feel for the members of the league. And I felt like it was a good start. It was a great start, actually. It was a great start. And I think that we've held our own pretty well. Like it's not uncommon to have a league where you find a couple people that are just kind of like bailing. But I want to say
Oh
that I
yeah.
don't feel like that's really been this, and so I feel pretty proud
No.
of that. And it's gonna just like I think that that's gonna keep building. I mean, nobody wants to get last place. I love that we kind of have a last place penalty, but also I think that it's less about that. I think that well, yeah, I think it was Ian that like because at one point in time he mentioned that Justice was in last place, and like he kind of put it to him, and as he said, it's just like you got to decide if you want to be in last place in this league. And I
Right.
think that everyone that's
Well,
in it doesn't want to have that.
I totally agree, and I think let's just jump right there and talk about the battle for last place because it's an interesting race here coming down to the end of the season. And I'm wondering, can you see my video right now?
I can see no, I can just see you.
Am I moving
Yeah, you're
around?
moving.
Because
Yeah.
okay, because everything's frozen on my screen, so things are going great on this side of things. So I don't know what's
Okay.
happening,
All
but
right.
yeah,
So
the
yeah, battle for last place
battle for last place.
at well, right now we've got Grace and Justice in the battle for last place, and it's really interesting because you look at both of these teams, and they actually have there's quite a bit of talent on both of them. Grace got really lucky, unlucky. She was the number one overall pick, so you pick CMC, and then of course CMC is out for the whole season. But actually, let me rephrase that. I'm looking at her team now, and it's a bit of a train wreck. I mean, she's starting two Colts wide receivers, which has never been proven to be anything remotely respectable. I mean, I'll give you Kareem Hunt, Nico being back, but I somehow stuck with Sam Darnold. Garrett Wilson, he's on bio, but that's because I just traded him. So, like, yeah, Grace is destined. Grace is that team that really struggled out of the gate because of drafting CMC, and then I can't decide if she phoned it in or that just put her into like a mental blender, and she just started building this roster that she has now today. So
I think that I think that wait, what team were we talking about? Grace is Michael Pittman. Yeah, Nico Collins,
Grace is
Joku.
in my
Oh,
end
and
zone
Josh
era.
Towns. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she
But
has
then you
Garrett
look at
Wilson.
Justice.
Garrett Wilson's on a bye. I think Grace's team's in decent shape. Yeah, let's look at Justice's squad here. Um,
Some underperformers for sure. I mean, that's when you look at a
yes.
team that's in last place, you're going to
CD
probably
Lamb
expect
has
that.
been a massive disappointment this season.
I would say Kyron
So
Williams also, and Patrick Mahomes. So it's not
right.
it's a
I
team. It's
will
a team. I mean, when some of the hot names on your team are Quentin Johnson and Brock Bowers, like that doesn't probably
I
give you a
offered
whole lot to.
Justice more than one trade to get him Bucky Irving, and I don't know that that's what would have bailed him out of this season, but he I don't even know if he saw my trade offers, but he
Let's
might have
talk a
reached.
little bit about. I am hoping that the trade market will increase in its just activity in future seasons, and I think that it will.
Definitely.
I think this is one of those things. I don't. Part of this is potentially ESPN. I don't really love ESPN. I the way that you get. I mean, I guess you get an email like that's that. It's the. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been in other leagues where I'm
Well,
really in the know
do you
of
not
what's going on.
do you not have your notifications turned on?
No, I do, but like I just do you feel
Okay.
like the usability of like I don't know, the interface with
It's
ESPN
right.
fantasy is just is not
It's
is not very
mediocre.
good.
it's mediocre. I'll definitely give you that. I think
I
in the
feel like I
future,
bounce
I would
around a
like to
lot.
try a sleeper. But anyway, let's don't go down that. Let's don't go down that rabbit hole. Let's stay focused on
Okay.
the remaining three games
So
of the season. So,
battle at the bottom between those two teams. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think that Hillary has a chance
well,
to sneak into that spot too, though.
oh,
So
absolutely, Hillary is in that position. I look at her team though, and you, if I told you Jalen Daniels, Puka Nakua, who does she must have on Brees Hall. I mean, you would think that team has no chance to be
mhm.
Moore, what's his name? D Moore, Chicago. Darnell.
DJ Moore,
What?
yeah, yeah,
DJ
yeah,
Moore. I was getting him mixed
Dar
up with Darnell Mooney. Uh,
yeah, Darnell Moore.
you would think, wow, that team's got to be solid. But yeah, Hillary, she's had a ton of points scored against, I think. No, not
Yeah,
that
and
many.
honestly,
Not that many.
here's the bigger problem with Hillary. She has chosen to multiple times, like she's like refused to drop the Chiefs defense, and when she had bye week issues, so she dropped like good players because she's like, I refuse to not have the Chiefs defense, and then therefore you drop someone that probably should not have been dropped. And I think that's the other thing is, well, you know, this is one of those leagues where you're most likely until everyone kind of catches up. The people that are the most active on waivers is they're going to always have a better chance to be towards the top because there's enough people that kind of like just keep their lineup the way that they are. So word of the wise for everyone else out there, like, get active, make sure it's not about just setting lineups. Like there's good players. We don't have a super deep bench. There's plenty of good players on the waivers. So get out there and make a couple claims here and there. Like, so no, no, I don't feel sorry for anyone that's finishing at the bottom because I think that this is a league where everyone could have been really active and made a case to improve their rosters.
Absolutely. I do think we'd be remiss to just mention that you have the same record as Hillary. Um, but
But
in
that's just
fairness, you have the second highest points against, and Kaufman has the next, and then Grace is the next, but Justice is pretty high. So anyway, there's a ton of luck involved in
I
this thing. I'm interested
there
to
is,
really
but
see how that bottom plays out.
I also have I also am like, I'm not top four in points scored, but I guess I'm fifth in points scored. I'm only barely behind Ian in points scored. Like, so, you're looking at these
Yeah,
teams at the bottom that are scoring 800 points and 900 points. And so that's not where I'm at. But yeah, a lot of
right.
points against. I definitely, I think I had a couple like close losses, losing by a couple points. So yeah, my record is not great. And
Okay.
as it shouldn't be. When you hitch your wagon to guys like Anthony Richardson and Garrett Wilson, and even Devon Achan, who end up being not great for most of the season because of Tua.
He's playing good now. He's looking
It's
really good
it's
now.
gonna be a struggle. Yeah, I mean, but we got 3 games left, and before the playoffs start, and there is just not much time. So let's talk right now about who is, if the playoffs were to start today, the teams that would be in the playoffs
Yeah,
would
and before you do
be.
that, so reminders, the top 5 teams are making it into the playoffs, and that's based on these ESPN standings. So it'll go to record first, and then points will be the first tiebreaker after that. And then we are going to play for 3 weeks and accrue points, and the whoever those points are going to be the championship points. Whoever has the most points after those 3 weeks is going to win the championship. So I
Which is
think
truly the best way to do playoffs. It
I think
allows you to
so.
have an
Yeah,
odd number of teams make it, and I think five is a great number of teams to make the playoffs. Um, it just adds another
yep,
like tier of teams that have a chance to get in. When you have a dominant team and then you just get unlucky and lose in the semifinals of the playoffs, like that's just garbage.
right.
So total points for the 3 weeks is absolutely the best way to make sure that we know who the true champion is. So yeah, if the playoffs started today, based on the ESPN standings where they stand now, dream team with the top seed, that's Kaufman Hopkins, with
Yep.
the total points scored. Is he at the highest point? So he has got
Yeah, he
the
is.
best record, or tied for the best record with you, and has the most points scored. So really
By
pretty
4
impressive
over
and dominant.
Kathleen, who also has a super strong team.
All, great team, great team. Yeah, I just had to run up against her last week, but let's just go, let's just so let's run down that list here before we go into the team. So Dream team at the top, followed by Brad's team. What would you do, or whatever your name? What is that again? What it's
I don't know what it's
what
supposed to
you do?
mean. It's a song.
What you doing?
Wide, I don't know. Wide, what you do? Yeah. To me, it's what you
Anyways,
do. But when I
yeah,
read it, the Remy Wolf song WYD comes
yeah.
on in my head. So
Okay. So number three, Unstoppable Three Girl Mama, Kathleen, Denver Matters, classic fantasy name, Ian
so good.
Davidson,
We were
and
all
then
there for it.
sneaking in at the very end is the Wrexham Football Club,
That's right.
with a when you that the fifth the fifth spot, there are you know Jay has 6 wins, and there are 6 teams all within 2 wins of that. So there are 6 teams that are definitely in the runnings to make that last spot. So right now, Jay is in there with Barrett close behind him with the same record.
Yeah.
Let's dive into these teams. Is that what you want to do?
Well, yes, but I mean, just off the top, I think it's interesting because you look at Jay with 1,021 points, huge drop off to Barrett, Ruby, Matt,
Huge drop
in
off.
all in the 900s. Then you have 1,025 points, so you've got a
Mm-hmm.
bit of a long road to toe, if that's the phrase. I'm not sure, uh, to win 2 games, and you need Jay to lose 2 out of 3. But, you may
But
be
you got
kind
that
of the
you got
the
the
biggest
potential
risk
tiebreaker.
there.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I know. And it's I really
Right.
needed this win this last week against Kathleen, but yeah, she just kind of hit it to me. Joe Mixon on Monday Night Football just kind of was the nail in the coffin. But yeah,
Is that
it's always
right?
nice to feel like you got a chance to squeeze to eke out a tiebreaker by total points scored, and so I at least feel good about myself right there. Yeah, you're right. Barrett getting some good fortune with his wins and losses at the 6 seed at the 6-5 record, the same as Jay.
Let's look
So
at the schedule here a
and
little bit and see. Let's look at Jay and Barrett's schedule here. So Jay, Wrexham Football Club. His next game is against Justice. Then he plays me, then Matt. So two of the lower
that's
scoring
wait,
teams, and
this is that's Barrett.
that's
That's
Jay.
his
That's
schedule.
Wrexham.
Oh, that's
That's
Jay's
Wrexham.
schedule. Oof.
Yep.
God. Oh
And
yeah,
then
I'm sorry. Yeah. So man, so
Barrett's
he's got one
schedule.
tough game and two walkovers. Okay.
Barrett's schedule is Kathleen and then Ruby and then Kaufman. So that is a pretty tough
That
road
is
there.
that is going to be a challenge. Excuse me. Excuse
Let's
me.
look at the Wiffle Master here. And you have Ruby and then Kaufman, and then your final game of the season is against Hillary. And
Mm,
so, yeah,
okay.
to be
All right.
honest,
I mean that
I think you're gonna maybe have a hard time. Yeah, I don't know. I think Hillary's team could be pretty good at the end of the season there. I mean,
I don't I don't think
I
that's
mean, she's
true, is
got
it?
Nakua back. She has Jalen Daniels as a quarterback. She has
True.
Brees Hall, Jalen Warren, or Raheem Mostert, Ridley, Nakua, um,
I mean, let's just look at the Wolfmasters team, though.
or
We've got
Kelsey.
Justin Herbert playing best game. I mean, come on, when you've got Devon Achane and Christian McCaffrey, I think that you can't rule yourself out of any matchup. Now, wide receivers definitely pretty thin.
What a
Tank Dell, Jalen Waddle not been good. T Higgins been
no,
fine,
Jalen
but like
Waddle's terrible.
I'm really gonna it's really gonna come down to, can Devon Achane and McCaffrey have just in the strong, really, really strong second half of the seasons to help pull me in
Definitely,
there. But definitely going to have to win all three of those games to have a chance to get in. And with one game up against Kaufman, that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one for me.
yeah.
How about the guys at the? Is there any chance? Let's look at the 3 and the 4 seeds. Unstoppable, Three Girl Mama, and Denver Matters. Is there any chance that these are they solidly in the playoffs, or
Let's
do
look
they
at
have a
Denver
tough road that they need
matters.
to
I
clinch a
mean,
couple?
Kathleen, if she doesn't make the playoffs, we need to change the rules because her team
Mm,
has been awesome. So let's just focus on Denver Matters. Let's look at what
okay.
he's got going here. His
And with
schedule.
a strong point total also. I'm not gonna say that Ian doesn't have a good team, but
I mean, that's fine. If you kind of want to limp in with 1,000 points or whatever, that's fine. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Denver Matters. He's had a solid team, and in fact, I think he's whipped my behind a time or two here. So, um, he
you got
plays
Lad
great.
McConkey playing really well.
He plays Grace,
I mean,
Justice, and then Kathleen. Those are his. That's
Grace,
the finishing schedule
Justice,
for.
and Kathleen. God, man,
Yep.
everyone's got like two pretty easy wins here.
Mm,
I don't know.
mm-hmm.
Grace and Justice. I mean, I don't know. Can you guys pull something together at the end? I mean, do the question really for teams like that is, do you want to play spoiler, or are you gonna just like, you know, roll over and die? And only you guys can answer that question.
That's
Can't
right.
answer it for you.
And I think
So
that,
I'm
and they also
and
have
at
$15 to play for.
and Unstoppable Three Girl Mama. What's her schedule looking like?
Let's see what's Kathleen got. Well, it's funny because okay. It seems like she's every team that we've looked up that is, you know,
Right,
needs
has
to
been
win
playing
out is
against her. Yeah,
playing her. So,
so
so
she
she's
might actually.
playing
So that might be a tough road.
she's playing Barrett, Grace, and Ian.
Oh, never mind then. Okay. All
Oh,
right. Well,
yeah.
boy,
Well, I don't know.
boy.
I don't know.
Um, let's look at Kaufman's team. Let's look at the
Yeah.
team at the top.
Definitely got to
Let's
give
see.
some props to Kaufman. I mean,
Gotta
everything
give some
he's
props to
touched
Kaufman.
has
I
turned to
mean,
goal this year. It's amazing.
it's been
Let's go
it's
through his
been pretty
roster.
good. Yep. So, I mean, quarterback now is Josh Allen after making a trade with you, which I was excited to see. A good trade, I think,
Yep.
for the league. But both good quarterbacks that got traded, plus throwing in DeAndre Hopkins. So that's a pretty solid trade there. Saquon Barkley, I think that there's a good chance that you could say, even though Saquon Barkley is a second round draft pick, so it's not like buy, drafted someone in the fifth or sixth round that turned into be a first round talent, but potentially the best pick of the entire draft, picking up someone like that is, clearly the RB1 on the
Mm-hmm.
season, and kind of, I mean, all of a sudden is the heart and soul of this Philadelphia offense. So, and just like you said, with Puka being back, Cooper Cup playing back to his role, if Mike Evans can come back and be, and after his injury and be kind of what he was before, maybe even more so with Godwin being out, like that could be, it could be kind of over and done with. And you add a couple guys. Oh, let's look at the bench. I mean, you got Jamar Chase
I'll
on
tell
bye.
you.
This is the only thing about Coffin's team is that he does have. I mean, he's in the playoffs at this point in time, but he does have all of his players on bye right now, and
No, I
so
don't know if
this
he did
this
that
week,
on purpose, but that was amazing planning by him.
yep,
I mean,
yeah.
he can afford to lose this game, so I'm not even worried about him not making the playoffs. I'll tell you the one thing, and I don't know, his team's not really built to depend on Josh Allen, so it doesn't matter, but I think he's got a very difficult schedule in the playoffs, and I think Chase does as well at the receiver position. And so I don't know. We'll see how that ends up panning
You know,
out, but
I also think that maybe he picked up Mike Evans off waivers. Is that true? Mike Evans. I don't know who drafted Mike Evans, but they dropped him. Okay, I can tell you right now, it was Tochi.
hmm,
It was Tochi.
Coach, what are
Tochi
you doing?
drafted Mike Evans in the third round, and then dropped him when he got hurt, and then somehow, and Kaufman, and honestly, we're all asleep at the wheel here because Kaufman has pretty much had the lowest um, waiver claim of anyone all season long, and
Hmm.
everyone else missed that he was available. Probably because why would Mike Evans ever be dropped? And
Why did I not do
but
that? Because my team needs more than anything is a receiver. So, all right, good job,
yeah,
Toach.
so does mine. So good job, Coach,
We
dropping
need to
Mike
have an
Evans.
inquiry, probably an inquisition into that
I
because there could
I
be some
think so.
collusion going on. That
Gosh,
seems
no kidding.
very, very
Mike Evans
sketchy.
just getting dropped,
Very
and all of a
sketchy.
sudden, and now on the championship team. Ugh, God, disgusting.
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah,
So,
it's terrible.
congratulations to Kaufman moving strong into the playoffs.
Okay,
I think we should.
Mitch, go ahead. Where are you
No,
going?
I just wanted to. I think that your team deserves some credit before we move on.
Oh,
And
well, shoot.
let's talk a little bit about a couple of the big hitters. I mean, Derrick Henry probably in that same vein of Saquon Barkley as being one of the best draft picks of the
Yeah,
season. That
he's been a
you get
beast.
these like stud RB1s in the second round. Like you're just in a great spot, and then you pair him with someone like Bijan, and
Right.
then I don't remember who your oh, and then yeah, because and actually, you know what? I think there's even more credit I think you deserve for great start to the season with those two, but then when you lose a guy like Rashi Rice, but are still able
Yeah.
to kind of
Yes.
piece together the rest of it, then that's the sign of
I
someone
know.
that
I mean,
you know
I honestly, I forgot that I even drafted Rashi Rice. So I was looking through the draft picks the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, my team would have been
yeah.
so good with him.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
that when you hit on a couple guys like Jameson Williams and even
Hmm.
Cortland Sutton's not been too bad. Um, that really helps hold that together. So,
Yeah.
congratulations to you. I mean, the Jameson Williams pick in any league that's drafted him in the sixth, seventh, eighth round, like that's turned out to be a great pick.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
congratulations to you. But so yeah, I don't know. Going forward, I do think that it does. I do think that fifth spot is definitely up for grabs. But man, those top four teams with their schedules and the teams that they have, they're going to be tough to. It's it's going to be a big upset if they somehow fall out of making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it gives the playoff percentage and it says that Kaufman, me, Kathleen, Ian are all over, Ian's 94% chance to make it. So, I mean, I think we need,
Yep.
I mean, 8-3. I guess if I lose out and Barrett wins out, then I don't know. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm lucky though,
Yeah.
because my points to get my schedule's been pretty easy. So anyway, but let's do
Yeah.
this.
So
I want to hear your pick for who's paying the 12th place spot, the 12th place fee to third place or whatever it was. Who's your pick?
I'm gonna It's gonna be Grace. It's her team is a disaster, and I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I think that and I don't feel bad about this, but it turns out that the Garrett Wilson for CMC trade was made maybe out of haste, and that's not going to turn out to be a very good trade for her. So Grace's team does not look good, and I feel like I should be able to take Nico Collins from you because he doesn't deserve to be
Get out
on
of
such an
here.
atrocious roster right now. But
I will veto that immediately.
I
Any
mean,
Nico.
I'm not. I don't obviously mean take him, but I'm just like it's sad when you
Yeah,
see someone like
I've seen your
Nico
trades
on a
before.
team like this.
Uh,
But anyway, yeah, I'll be shocked if it's not Grace.
I want to
You?
pick something different just to be different, but yeah, I think you're right. Sorry,
You
Grace.
know,
I don't know. You know
yeah.
what? Let me just to be different. Let me go ahead and pick. Let's see, man. Oh man, things would have to go sideways for him. Uh, Hurts Connor. Yeah, I like
Yeah, are you talking about
some of those.
Toches?
Yeah, I'm looking at Tochi.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's if he had one less win, I'd
Jonathan
be like
Taylor. James
maybe.
Conner. Yeah. Gosh, Grace, I'm
If
sorry.
he
I'm
if
sorry the season's gone so bad for you.
Yeah, if Toch had
Yeah.
one less win, I would agree. I'd put him in the runnings to finish last, but
But
no, he's
actually, I mean, his roster looks good. Like, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner,
yeah,
Jalen Hurts
yeah,
is playing really good right now. So who
yeah,
knows? All right.
yeah. So
You want to do some shouts and shots?
yeah, well, actually, first, I have you. I don't know anything about playoff schedule, but I or like who's playing who in the playoffs. But like I think just knowing what we know now. I mean, I want to hear your who you think is going to squeeze in. And let's assume that the top four are going to make it. Who do you think is going to be there and get the fifth spot, and then we'll move on to some shots and shots.
I really think that Jay is going to hold on to that fifth spot. I mean, I know that's
Mhm.
kind of going chalk, but everything falls in line for him, and his team has really been quite solid, up and down. Now, as of I guess he's going to start Jordan Love this week. So I was going to say he's got Kirk Cousins on a bye, and he has no tight end
Mhm.
at the moment. So, but yeah, well. Zay Flowers, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just go with Jay because I just think the numbers favor him from a schedule, or not a schedule, but a standings standpoint. But I do think
Mhm.
it would be fun. It'd be fun to see Barrett step up there with Tyreek Hill playing better and Joe
Mhm.
Burrow. Uh, obviously he can put up points. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. A little inter-family
Yeah.
rivalry there in the Morgner household.
Mhm. Yeah. The only thing that I was gonna say is I kind of like, Ruby's got to beat me this week, but I actually like a lot of players on her team too. And Jameer Gibbs is playing really really well. If if Josh Jacobs is playing really really well. Drake London's had a great season. McLaurin's had a great season. He's kind of like fallen off maybe the last couple of weeks. I think that if she could kind of get lucky and win her next two games, I think that she's going to be who does she play in her last week? Is there
Let me
any chance that
see.
is there a matchup at the last week that maybe is gonna determine it? I was wondering who I can't remember who Jay plays the last week of the season.
Ruby's Ruby finishes out with you, Barrett, and Grace.
Right, right. So yes, and
Let
so
me
I don't
look
know.
at Jay.
Just to be different, I'm gonna throw Ruby out there. I think that she's got a couple like dark horse players that I really like, and if she can, if it starts off tough against me this week, because we're throwing everything we can at this to try to prove the CPU wrong, and that 4% is should be a lot higher. But just to be different, I'm going to say that Ruby somehow sneaks in and finishes the season strong, gets 8 wins, and makes the fifth spot.
And let me make my official prediction is Barrett.
Mm, all
So
right,
I
let's
know
go with
I
Jay.
know
All
I
right,
was going with Jay at first there, but once I got to looking at Barrett's roster and see the way that some of those guys are coming on, like I think he could put up some points. So it's gonna be fun coming down the
yeah.
stretch.
See, yeah, I'm gonna. I think I feel the opposite. I feel the opposite about his. Well, and Barrett, if you're listening, you know, I don't know if you realize this, but you've got a lot of buys this week. So let's get active. Let's get on the waivers. Let's
I am
figure out who your
hoping that
quarterback
that
is.
calling him out here is gonna put some
Yep.
energy into him, so he'll get out here
Yep.
and get the waiver wire going, get him
I
a
think
tight
so.
end, and yeah, he needs a few spots here. So no, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle for tight ends. All
All right.
right,
Yeah. So let's do some shots and shots as
shouts and
we all
shots.
know. We like to close off our show. Um,
Let me do a quick reminder of what shouts and shots were last time we recorded. So on November 10th, 2010. Here were the shouts and shots. Mitchell, you took a shot at the Miller Lite Man Up commercials, which were bad. I'm sure Ian designed them. I don't know. They weren't great. It was Ian. It wasn't your best work.
Not
And
your
then
best ever.
and then you gave a shout to the ESPN 30 for 30 videos. ESPN was making these cool 30 for 30 movies, and you were just like, they're
Has,
really well
has
done. You
anyone,
should check them out.
has
Just
anyone ever heard of them?
in
And
general.
looks like they're still doing pretty well.
They're
So
still going strong. Look at that. And I took a shot at Jerry Jones because the Cowboys were completely dysfunctional. They had just fired Wade Phillips. And then I gave a shout to Formula One because they were going into their last race of the season, and that was the race that Sebastian Vettel
and
won the world championship in Abu Dhabi.
I mean, look at Formula One, never stronger.
I know.
You know, So I mean, I think again, just there's just so much proof that we were just ahead of our time.
I know.
Being culturally relevant when it wasn't a thing to even do that. And I just do love I do love that 14 years has passed and the Cowboys are the exact same team that they were then. I mean,
It's a
it is
mess.
hilarious.
It
It's so
is
good.
so funny.
All right. So shouts and shots. So I'll start off with a shout. I'm gonna give a shout out to uh, both uh, 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 Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, head coach and uh, offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. I thought that that was a team that kind of overachieved, maybe not overachieved last year, but I was not expecting them to come back and be firing on even more cylinders than they were last year. Like
Hmm.
that team is playing so well. I'm really excited for whatever franchise is going to be able to get Ben Johnson next year as a head coach. I'm excited for them, and I think that they're just like, obviously I love the Chiefs, but they are a fun team to watch. Like, and I love that the Detroit fans, they got to have a team in the NFC Championship game last year, and now are getting to watch this team just click. And Dan Campbell, like, I think it's so funny because we all I mean, he's just this big brute meathead guy, right? And you just don't
Yeah.
assume that someone like that is going to be able to put together a team that's just going to be as like this kind of McVayian, offensive efficiency team. Which again, I don't necessarily know that it's him, but I have a feeling that this guy is actually just like way smarter than he is. And
Yeah.
he is just out there
No
talking
kidding.
about biting off kneecaps and rattlesnakes and
Right.
whatever he
Ah,
does.
man.
And he knows the game a little bit more. And if that's the case, if he's been just kind of like putting on the show of just being like, I'm this brute guy, I'm gonna do 100 push-ups, but he's like in there just like concocting this incredible team. Then I love the idea of that. But anyway,
Right.
big shout to both of those guys.
Yeah. That's a great one. I'll give my shout out here. I'm gonna give a shout to Justice. He was down and out. The team was flailing for a long time, and I feel like he's put some effort into the thing, and has brought his team into competitiveness to where he's maybe not going to get last place. So props to him for sticking with it and keeping it going through the whole season. Not quite a Dan
Yeah,
Campbell effort, but I mean very very solid effort. What you want out of a
very
fantasy football league, it's top to bottom solid league all the way around.
totally agree. Great call. Think it'd be very easy halfway through the season for him just to kind of be like, whatever, I'm moving on. I'm a big deal. I'm a big deal at my school. I'm like on all the best soccer teams and clubs, and I have great hair and all those things. And he was just like, look, I'm committed to this, and I'm gonna see it through. So yeah, I agree. Great call. Um, the shot. I'm gonna go back to the coaches. Actually, man, I just kind of feel like I need to take a shot at the K-State coaching staff right
Oh,
now because I am not.
which sport?
I
I'll do the
Oh
other
God,
one.
yeah, yeah, that's good. Well, I'm definitely okay. So I'm
Oh
talking about
man.
climbing and really just like I feel this is the first time that I have seen our program just regress as the season has gone on, and
Right.
where I feel like I'm struggling now to even understand like the kind of identity that we're putting together offensively for sure. Defensively, I mean, defensively is just bad. Um, but I don't see growth right now out of our quarterback. I feel like I'm seeing teams that are just uh, putting together game plans, and we have no ability to make adjustments. I just feel like we're just getting out coached every week by coaches that I don't feel like are necessarily the greatest coaches in the conference or definitely in the country. So,
Right.
um, gonna take a big shot at the KC football team coaching staff. And I think that this season now is is unfortunately they're with now seeing how the Big 12 is shaking up, and with lots of teams losing, and I think this week could be a big one too. KU's playing some of their best football, going up against Colorado. That could be a big game. That could give them a second loss. BYU playing against Arizona State, maybe that could be a tough game for them. Like it could end up getting really messy, and unfortunately, K-State is just going to be on the outside looking in with no hopes of doing anything with it. So really disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've shifted my whole focus to this season to just cheering for a bowl game matchup with Mizzou. I think whatever scenario has to happen to make that happen, I think that's what I want to have happen. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be sweet. Yeah,
it's been a terrible season.
I could get down with that.
Yeah, in a real crappy bowl. I mean, just a total terrible, just nobody there. Middle, December 20th, so we can just be done with the season. Like that'd be great. All right, let me take a shot at I'll take a shot at Aaron Rodgers. I just
Great call.
The Jets situation has been so funny to watch, and it's funny you talked about Dan Campbell, and I remember watching the Hard Knocks, and I thought Dan Campbell was a joke with his introductory press conference when he was doing the kneecap thing, and then I watched Hard Knocks. I'm like, this guy's not full of it. He's actually, I like what he says and all that, and you watch the Jets, and it's just. I'll be honest, like in that video or that series, I didn't think like, oh, this is just a mess of a franchise. I honestly thought the Bears came across worse this season.
Yep.
But it's just, Aaron, you've been calling the shots. You've been, you made the called for your receivers to come in there. A certain backup quarterback last year, he cost him the whole season. You brought Hackett in. I mean, and you're just incompetent, dude. And I don't know. It's just hilarious to watch and just kind of funny to see the karma happen. And they fired their GM and everything here just what, today or yesterday or whatever. And so I don't know. It's just comical to me. So I'm taking a shot at Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I love it. Very easy guy to root against. I feel like he's always kind of been that way. Like there was a stretch where I did like him, and just he has chosen the path of wanting to be unlikable.
Yeah.
And I just and I don't get that. And he doesn't really, I mean, I guess he's got the resume. He's got a couple MVPs. Maybe he's got 3 MVPs, 1 Super Bowl. So
him and Mike
I guess,
McCarthy
but
won a
man,
Super Bowl. How did that happen?
yeah, I had that. Well, Jordy Nelson, that's how it happens, right? But like I guess it's ironically a very similar end to a career that is on the far trajectory. And I think
Right.
that what was interesting about that was when Aaron was becoming like who he was, you're watching Favre just like, trying to grasp onto straws and play. He had a good season there with the Vikings, and then he goes and plays with the Jets, and like this, you're just like, oh, disgusting. This is so gross. And like
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers is literally, that's the exact same thing is happening. And so I think that's just like kind of hilariously
Yeah.
ironic. But what I hate the most is that he just doesn't care and like doesn't get that it's gross.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
hate him.
It's bad.
Hate him.
It's bad.
Worth every bit of a shot. So nice job.
Well,
All right. Well, again,
yeah, I was gonna say we probably should have ended on a shout to end on a high note, but it's been a great episode here. So glad we could recap the end
great
of the
episode.
Kearney fantasy season.
Glad to be back. Yeah, maybe we'll be that. Let's do that. Let's plan to be back here. Maybe right before the final week of it, we can do a little peek into how the playoffs are going and see if we can make some projections from there. So
Yeah, maybe so. Last time we said we were going to come back and do an episode the next week, and it ended up being 14 years later. So, maybe we'll come back before the final week. I'm down, but we'll just wait and see.
we'll see you all in 2038.
All right. Cheers. Am I doing the intro?
I think you always did.
All right. I think we alternated. I'll go for it. Welcome back to the Sideline Show. This week, after. All right. Hang on one sec.
Can we do it?
Welcome back to the Sideline Show. After popular demand, we are here to break down the playoff run in the Kearney the Kearney. Damn it! All right, you do it.